What is dope coffee? Dope coffee is an idea. Speaking of the war in Afghanistan, one of the things that I learned in counterinsurgency is that you can't simply change cultures, change people, and change ideas through force or by spending dollars. You gotta plant ideas, you gotta seed them, and you gotta grow them. So that's what dope coffee is. We're an idea that communities of color, that people of color can use capitalism, culture, and commodities to change our communities. We're gonna do that by using our products to uplift and elevate our cultures. Our mission is very simple. We want to serve great coffee to great people. And what is that? Who are those great people? They're people like you, they're people like me. So even though I come from a community of color and I'm here to represent and uplift the community of color, our products are for everyone. I kind of call this a party and everyone's invited to it. So let's talk a little bit about the industry landscape within the specialty coffee industry. It's very monoculture, right? You get these very large corporate entities such as Coca-Cola, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Nestle, who just bought out Blue Bottle a few years ago for $1 billion. I don't know if we have any Blue Bottle drinkers in here. But it's very monoculture in that you don't see a lot of diversity, right? Women are not included. It's mostly like a white male dominated industry. And so that in and of itself is not a problem. I'm here to create a space for people like myself and just for a different point of view. There are a lot of challenges within the specialty coffee industry, okay? A lot of times the branding is not very diverse, okay? You can see Black Rifle Coffee here, a lot of guns out. Veterans, I know a lot of them go for that. And that's cool. Particularly for communities that are interested in that type of branding. But what you see a lot of times is that minorities, people of color, and women, they're never spoken to directly. They're never addressed directly. And so there's a huge opportunity within the market to open the aperture a little bit. The cafe environment can be very unwelcoming. And then finally, and this is really where dope coffee came to life, flavors. I know I saw a big Starbucks run this morning, right? Tasting the flavors, sometimes they're just not very well received. And this comes from a history in America. Where do we get our coffee from? Where do we get the culture of our coffee from? This is France, and this is Italy. It's a lot of dark, heavy espresso. And I don't know if we have any French or Italian people in here, maybe unless you're just a descendant. We didn't grow up drinking espresso at age 6, right? And so it's something that's not necessarily embedded in our culture. And so what we do at Dope Coffee, I think we have a very unique opportunity. So talk a little bit about like our customer base. What I currently see right now within Dope Coffee, even though we're a very people of color and black forward branding, roughly 70% of our customer base is coming from white, non-black, or just folks that are not of color. And so we understand that as a company, although we have a mission to put ourselves and our culture forward, like I said, we're here for everyone. So this is myself and my operations officer, Stacy. We are in just dropping off a batch of Honduran coffee. Actually, I got some samples for you guys this morning. And this is like, who raised your hand if you ever seen a photo like this before? Just with two black faces around a coffee roaster, or even in that, it doesn't exist, right? And so one of the things, and I'll talk a little bit about this a little bit later in the game, is that I have a mission. I'm a photographer, I'm a creative guy as well. I just want to put 1,000 faces of people of color with coffee, around coffee, and not necessarily just like down in the fields working the farms, but behind the bar, owning it, drinking it, enjoying it. It's a lifestyle. It's something I really want to push forward with. So our approach to branding, first and foremost, we got to be relatable. So for myself in the coffee industry, every time I go look coffee, I just want to look up people drinking coffee online. I never get to see someone look like me. This guy Levert's my very first customer. I said, hey Levert, I want to take photos of you. I want to put them all over the web. Why? So that when someone else comes who looks like you and they say, man, I never saw myself as a part of this community. They see him, they see that face, it kind of breaks down barriers. The next has got to be curated. So you guys are looking in the middle. That's my wife, Michelle. She's our chief product officer. What we did, we sat around in a room, 50, 60 people, week after week after week, and we test and we refine our products. Like I said, it's based on this culture's taste preference. We get the thumbs up. I got a couple of our bottled iced coffee samples too that I'll let you guys try. And it's a different taste, right? Folks immediately say, why is it not bitter? Well, because black folks won't drink bitter stuff. That's why. That's why, right? Hey, and then finally, like, there's a level of acceptance, right? And so here's what I mean by that. So many folks have talked to communities of color in America and come in and say, we're gonna do things and we make promises that oftentimes they're not kept. But with Dope Coffee, we've tried to be very true to our core from the beginning. And with that, we've developed, especially locally in Atlanta, just a reputation of being a brand that is going to do things right at the beginning, but also represent and uplift our culture the right way. So here are our product capabilities. We sell bag coffee, whole bean and ground, very similar to any other coffee company. But one of the things that we're really pushing forward to, if you see that Ethiopian iced mocha in the middle, the ready to drink market is about to explode. 67% of millennials, look, you're shaking your heads, you're like, yes, I want my coffee in a bottle, right? Because I don't want to sit in line at Starbucks or wait at some like old school, like hipster cafe. And then this final product here is actually one of my favorites. It is a face and body scrub. It is made from recycled coffee. So when we brew the bottled iced coffee, or when we do coffee catering, we just recycle all of that, add a bunch of essential oils and a bunch of really good things. This scrub here is designed specifically for melanated skin. And some of the things that Nicole was talking about, this North American environment, if you have skin like mine, it doesn't work out very well, okay? So we design products, like I said, they're here to uplift and elevate our culture. That's just a photo of our beautiful packaging. It's all my design work, by the way, so. How do we plan on acquiring customers, okay? Content marketing, like I said. All right, we have a podcast, it's called Talk. Why? I wanna get a cup of coffee. What happens when you drink coffee? You get chatty, right? And then we talk about everything. So we talk about issues that are within our community that need to be brought to light. Also, we just stood up our sales department, just brought on a very wonderful BD sales specialist who's going to go aggressively after the B2B market. All right, here's an example of content marketing. That's myself. If you were to watch this video, my stage name is Creative Mike the Rapper. What I do is teach you a tutorial on how to use the French press. Now, I asked you guys earlier, had you ever seen really like two black guys sitting by a coffee roaster? The answer is always no. Like, have you ever seen a black dude teach you how to use the French press? When I released this video, I got a flood of messages that came back, mostly from people of color, and it was like the French press part was cool, but I just never saw a black dude talking about coffee ever, right? And so content marketing from that standpoint, you gotta understand, like if you're a potential customer or if you're in one of these emerging markets and no one speaks to you directly, you're never gonna purchase, right? You guys heard the phrase niches get riches? No? Stitches? So this is our team. That's myself. I won't talk much more about myself. My wife, Michelle, she's a dietitian, she's a chef, and she's also a flavorist. If you guys go down in her lab, it's just a bunch of little beakers and droplets. She won't get up on stage and talk to you guys, but you can sample her products because they speak for themselves. Stace, again, he's our operations officer and our creative director. Here's our contact information in case you guys want to shoot me a message, ask any questions after this presentation. But that's my story, and thank you guys for having me.
Wonderful. All right, first question. All right.